Ladies and gentlemen, you know, the funny thing about people is they get real comfortable with the things that show up every day. They take the consistent ones for granted. The people who always answer the phone, always show up, always say yes, always fix things. You become part of the background. Like the light switch on the wall. Nobody thinks about it until the power goes out. That's what happens when you're always there for folks. They start assuming you're supposed to be. They don't even think about how much you're doing. They don't stop and say, wow, they really care about me. No, they just expect it. It becomes routine for them, even though it costs you something every time. Your time, your energy, your heart. People miss consistency once it disappears. See, it's not just about missing you, the person. They miss what you did for them. They miss how you made their life easier, how you were always the one they could lean on. They miss the feeling of being important to someone, that warm feeling they had because they knew you'd come through. They miss that, but they only realize it once it's gone. Let me tell you something. That good morning text you sent every single day, they didn't really think much about it until one day it stopped coming. And now they check their phone and scroll, hoping maybe you just missed a day. That ride home you always gave them, they never thought to say thank you until they're out there standing in the rain. That emotional support you provided, listening to their drama, helping them through breakups, failures, stress. They took that for granted until their phone's dry and nobody's picking up. See, your presence was a gift. But people forget how special a gift is when they get it all the time. Imagine eating your favorite meal every day. After a while, you stop appreciating the flavor, but take it away for a week, and suddenly it's all you crave. That's what you were to them. Something dependable, something real. Something that felt so familiar, they forgot it was valuable. But once you remove that consistency, once you pull back and focus on yourself, that's when they start feeling the loss. Not because they finally matured, not because they suddenly woke up one day more respectful. No, it's because that comfort, that security blanket, that ride or die energy you brought to the table is gone. And they don't know how to replace it. That's when they start missing you. But let's be real, sometimes they don't miss you, the human being. They miss the benefit, the convenience, the way your love made them feel. But hey, even if that's the case, it still proves a point. You were giving them something nobody else could. That's why they feel your absence so deeply. That's why they get quiet. That's why they suddenly pop up again after weeks, months, trying to check in, trying to reconnect, because that consistency you gave, it had a rhythm, it had a weight. And now that it's gone, everything feels off. Let me put it to you this way. When you water a plant every day, it grows. But stop watering it, it starts to wither. Then the plant starts craving that water. That's how people are with energy. You kept showing up for them, pouring into them, giving without asking for much, and they grew from it. They felt good around you. But now they're spiritually thirsty because you've stopped being the source. And here's the truth that hurts. Not everyone deserves your consistency. Not everyone is supposed to be in the VIP section of your life. Some people were only supposed to pass through, but you gave them a permanent seat. And they got real comfortable. But the moment you wake up and realize your worth, the moment you say, I'm not doing this anymore unless I'm appreciated, that's the moment they realize what they had. But by then it's too late. You've moved on, you've grown. You're not just giving your energy to anybody anymore, because now you understand your consistency was a blessing, and not everyone is ready to handle a blessing. Sometimes the loudest message you'll ever say is the one you don't say out loud. Your silence, your distance, your absence. That says more than any argument, any text message, any long speech ever could. See, people hear you better when you stop talking. They notice you more when you stop showing up. You ever been in a room full of people and someone you're used to seeing isn't there? You feel it, don't you? You keep glancing at the door, wondering where they are. It feels like something's missing because something is missing. That's what your absence does. It creates a space, and that space speaks. It reminds people of what used to fill it. Now, when you're always available, always showing up, always being the strong one, people start assuming that's just who you are. They think, oh, they'll be there. They stop appreciating it. They stop saying thank you. They get used to your presence like it's permanent. But the minute you step back, when you stop calling, stop helping, stop pouring into people who only take, that gets their attention real quick. Your absence starts to make them uncomfortable. And let me tell you, growth begins in discomfort. They start to realize how much noise you were covering, how many fires you were putting out, how much joy you were bringing into their life. And now that you're gone, the silence is screaming. The peace you carried with you, it's gone too. And they feel that emptiness like an echo. Here's what people don't understand. When someone disappears, it's rarely out of the blue. It's a build-up. It's quiet disappointment. It's pain that got pushed aside too many times. It's emotional labor that went unnoticed. So when you stop answering, when you don't show up, when you start focusing on you, they're left sitting in a silence that they created. And don't get it twisted. Some folks will act confused. They'll say, I don't know why they stopped talking to me, or they changed up. No, you didn't change. You just stopped tolerating the nonsense. You finally chose peace over pressure. You finally realized your energy is a privilege, not a guarantee. That's the power of absence. It doesn't require confrontation. You don't need to cuss nobody out. You don't need to write a 5-page letter. You just pull back. You protect your peace. You let the silence do the talking. And trust me, people will hear it. Maybe not right away, but eventually that quiet hits them like a brick. They start remembering the little things, the way you always made them laugh, how you listened when no one else did, how you picked up on their moods, their needs, without them even having to say anything. And now there's a void. And the crazy part is it's not filled by just anyone. Because not everyone has your spirit. Not everyone has your kind of love. Sometimes the best way to be heard is to be gone. Sometimes the only way people realize your worth is when you remove yourself. And I know that can be hard, especially when you care, especially when you've been the glue holding everything together. But baby, you can't be the glue and the one that's breaking. Your silence is powerful. It teaches people. It reminds them. It makes them sit with themselves and think. And if they truly care, they'll come back different. They'll come back with respect, with humility. But if they don't, well, now you know. Now you've got your answer without even having to ask the question. See, sometimes the best closure is no closure. Sometimes the best revenge is success. And sometimes the best response is none at all. Your absence is not just the end of a chapter, it's the beginning of a new one. One where you stop overextending yourself. One where you stop explaining your worth. One where you protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. So the next time someone treats you like you're optional, become unavailable. The next time someone plays with your time, go silent. Let the distance speak, let the silence echo. Let your absence teach the lesson, because some people won't get it until you're no longer there. You know when people start realizing how much you matter to them? When they can't get to you no more. when the door they used to walk through whenever they pleased is suddenly locked. When the phone they used to call and get a quick fix, whether it was attention, advice, money, or love, just keeps ringing without an answer. See, people don't really understand value until access is denied. They get so used to having you in their life that they stop noticing how much you do. They think it's normal to have someone who checks on them, someone who encourages them when they're low, someone who sees their potential even when they've lost faith in themselves. But let that person go quiet. Let that consistent energy disappear. Let that love stop flowing, and suddenly they remember everything. You were always there when they needed someone to vent to. You were the one lifting them up when they didn't even have the strength to say what was wrong. But because you made it look easy, because you never complained, because you showed up time and time again, they didn't see it for what it was, a blessing. And that's the problem with people. They confuse availability with permanence. They thought you'd never leave. They thought no matter what they did, the ignoring, the excuses, the lies, the emotional distance, you'd still be there. You'd always answer. You'd always understand. You'd always forgive. Until one day, you didn't. Now all of a sudden, the silence is deafening. They're scrolling through old messages, rereading the times you poured your heart out, looking at old photos, remembering how you used to light up the room. They're laying in bed trying to find someone else to fill that emotional gap, but nobody's hitting like you did. That laugh, that vibe, that unconditional support. It ain't something you just replace. And now they're realizing that what they thought was ordinary was actually extraordinary, that the energy you gave was rare, and that access to you was a gift, not a right. But the thing is, that realization came too late, because now you've grown, you've healed, you've seen how one-sided things really were. You've stopped reaching out, stopped bending, stopped trying to prove your worth to people who were blind to it. You've become selective, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. You've learned that not everyone deserves the softest parts of you. Not everyone should get the version of you that loves hard, gives freely, and shows up with everything you've got. That kind of access is earned, and when it's not appreciated, it's revoked. So now they remember. They remember the talks at 2 a.m. when they had nobody else to call. They remember the time you drove across town just to see them smile. They remember how you celebrated them when nobody else cared. But the thing they'll remember most is that one day, all of it stopped. They'll remember that moment they went to call you and hesitated, not because you weren't available, but because they knew deep down they didn't deserve your time anymore. And now that you're inaccessible, now that your attention is somewhere else, now that your love is being poured into your own growth, your own peace, they feel the void, they feel the shift, and it stings. Because when you were there, they didn't treat you like a priority. But now that you're gone, they realize you were the prize. Listen, that's not on you. That's on them. You did your part. You gave your best, and now it's your time to receive the same. So don't feel bad for pulling back. Don't feel guilty for choosing you, because sometimes people have to lose access to you just to learn how valuable you really were. And once they learn, it's too late. If you want to know what the best revenge is, it's not clapping back. It's not posting petty quotes on social media. It's not trying to make them feel how they made you feel. No, the best revenge is growth. Quiet, powerful, undeniable growth. The kind where you level up so much, they don't even recognize you anymore. You see, when somebody mistreats you, when they take your love for granted, dismiss your worth, or act like you'll never be anything without them, the best thing you can do is prove them wrong by how far you rise. not by telling them, not by trying to make them regret it, but by putting your head down, getting to work, and becoming everything they didn't believe you could be. People don't expect you to thrive after they hurt you. Some folks actually count on your silence. They count on you staying stuck, broken, bitter. They want you to sit in the pain. They expect you to keep chasing them, begging them to stay, needing their validation. But oh, when you decide you're done begging, done waiting, done playing small, that's when everything changes. Because that's when your power returns. That's when you realize you don't need them. What you needed was to rediscover you, your goals, your vision, your value. And once you lock in on that, everything shifts. You start speaking different, walking different, thinking different. You're no longer asking for a seat at their table. You're building your own. That's personal growth. And it's louder than anything you could ever say. It's when you stop texting first, not because you're trying to be cold, but because you got things to do now. You got moves to make. You got books to read, places to go, people to meet. You're not sitting around hoping they miss you. You're too busy becoming someone that can't be ignored. And you know what? That growth, it stings. Not for you, but for them. Because now they're watching from a distance. Now they're seeing you glow, succeed, evolve without them. That same person they dismissed, doubted, or disrespected is now rising, and they're not part of the story anymore. That's the kind of pain they can't hide. But here's the thing. Your growth isn't about revenge for them. It's about healing for you. It's about breaking cycles. It's about becoming the person you were always meant to be before the heartbreak, before the betrayal, before the disappointment. It's about saying, I went through hell, but I'm still here, and now I'm better. The most powerful thing you can ever do is stop trying to prove yourself to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. Let them doubt you, let them talk, let them go. You don't need to announce your comeback. Real growth speaks for itself. You don't even need to show them what they lost. Life will do that for you. You just keep pushing, keep evolving. You work on your body, your mind, your spirit. You build your business, your relationships, your peace. You stop showing up for everyone else, and you finally start showing up for you. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable and start owning every inch of your greatness. That's real revenge. When you become unrecognizable, not out of bitterness, but because you've outgrown everything that tried to break you. When the same people who left you behind have to watch you shine from the back row. When they go to check on you expecting to see the same broken version they walked away from, but instead they see a boss, they see a glow up, they see strength they never imagined. And the truth is they're not just shocked, they're scared. Because now they know they don't have access to this version of you, the elevated version, the healed version, the version that knows how to say no. The version that doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't wait. That's the version they'll never get back. And that's the real revenge. So grow quietly, boldly, unapologetically, because nothing speaks louder than a person who turned their pain into power, their wounds into wisdom, and their loss into legacy.